Kelsey watching. Who knows what his future is? Here's Gainwell, and that will do it.
All right. What's going on, guys? That was a tough one. Oh, let me get some light. Let me get some light up in here. Hold on. There we go. Maybe get some more. That's better. Turn on all the lights. All right. That hurt, but it is what it is. Um, the one thing that makes me feel the worst, and I'm watching now, is Jason Kelsey walking off the field, and just by his demeanor, looks like that might be the last we see of Jason Kelsey, and for him to go out like this sucks. I could be wrong. It could be just the emotion of the moment, and could very well be that for him right now. But what did it for me was watching him the way he hugged Stoutland at the end of the game. Like that, to me, that move has finality to it. Again, I don't know. I'm just guessing based on what I've seen. But I don't know. But that's what it looks like to me. So I sure hope that he doesn't have to go out like that. I hope that Brandon Graham, it sucks, man. It sucks. Cody K, what's going on, man? He tried to keep the faith all year. That one hurt, bro. That one hurt, man. I've told the story before. When I came up in football, my first couple years in football, I learned how to lose because we sucked. So as I grew older, I knew how to handle that better than most people. But when it's something final and the hardest thing is not walking away from football. The hardest thing is figuring out what you're going to do when you do walk away from it. They had James. They had their opportunities. You're absolutely right, man. Bradbury, just the whole defense as a whole tackling is garbage. I said the same thing last year, and I never expected for us to get that bad that quickly. You know what I'm saying? So. Michael Conroy kills me is how clearly this season was a result of the front office promoting another unqualified coach. That is a great point, man. That is a great point. And you know what? In my opinion, they just selected the wrong coach. I just think they made the wrong pick. I think they should have let Desai go, or I'm sorry, not Desai, but they should have let Brian Johnson go and kept Denard Wilson. They should have hired another offensive coordinator and kept Denard Wilson for that defense. But hindsight is 2020, man. Ain't really much you can do about that. Slay got bent backwards, and that was kind of ugly because I know I've had that happen. Like if I'm carrying the ball and a defensive guy gets my legs so I can't move. But there's a guy coming from my front coming this way. He's trying to knock my helmet off. So what happens is the guy that's on low, he's going this way. The guy that's coming across the top is going this way. So your body gets torqued out of whack, and sometimes they got you so tight around your legs so you can't break the tackle and move your legs. And a lot of times you just get bent back a weird way. And if anybody's ever, I don't know if you've ever bent backwards or you turned a certain way, just something that your body is not used to at a funky angle. And that's what it looked like happened. And a lot of times when you do that, something will pop. Cartilage will pop or because you're in a funky position, your body, I mean, if somebody's trying to move your body's going to move. But if it's a situation where you're trying to move your body in an unnatural situation, something's going to pop. And that's what it looks like for Slay. I've had that happen before, but I was lucky nothing serious happened. I've had that situation happen where somebody tackled me. They tackled me at my knees and went right down like my calves and my ankles, but I couldn't move my feet. And somebody hit me a dead shot from the front directly on my knee. And I thought that happened to me in high school, and I thought it was a wrap for me. Because he hit my knee hard, but luckily I had a little bit of flex in my knee, a little bit of bend. So basically my knee was like that. If this is my kneecap, the helmet hit me directly on my kneecap and my knee was bent just a little bit. So he hit it and it hurt, but I didn't hyperextend or anything like that. So I got lucky. But again, when you're wrapped up and your body does weird contortions, stuff like that, you could have some serious stuff going on. So I hope Slay is all right. Sorry it had to end this way, but Mike, my prediction is there will be a new coaching staff on here next season, and Hurts will be given 2024 to prove we don't need to take a QB. They're not taking a QB. They done already paid him money. He's not going anywhere. So he signed a 4-year contract. So we got him until at least 28. It's 24 now. So if that 27 maybe. So Hurts ain't going nowhere. We got to get a coach that can coach him up. Because he clearly regressed. So, but he was also hurt. There's a lot of caveats to that. He should have thrown the ball and should have been well over. He'll have 4,000 yards for the year, including this game. But he should have had 4,000 yards in regular season. He should have. If we could run an offense and not bubble screens and all that kind of nonsense. Yeah, Heather. You must have just missed the conversation I had about that. But I will definitely add Lane Johnson. I don't know if Lane Johnson might come back. I'm more worried about Fletch, Kelsey, and BG. Because that's the heart of our team right there. Especially Jason Kelsey and BG. They are the heart of our team. So both those guys started here, drafted here, stayed here for their whole career. So Lane Johnson's going to be a Hall of Famer. Kelsey's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer. BG, I don't know. Because BG had 2-3 years in kind of limbo. Didn't really do much before he broke out. That's a testament that, I mentioned that earlier today, how hard it is to play in this league. Just because you a top draft pick doesn't mean anything. That's why I'm having such a problem now, and I'm already getting sick of hearing about Caleb Williams and his demands, and he's not even in the league yet, and he's making demands. Like, come on. I want to make sure this team trades the pick. I don't want to play in Chicago and all of that kind of stuff. Like, come on, dude. You got to take your lumps, and you are not that good. You're unproven. So, but I hate it that Fletch, Kelsey, and BG, this might be their last game. Like, I hate it. They'll all be Eagles alumni Hall of Famers. So I'll look forward to seeing them next time I go to an alumni game or something like that. So that'll be fun. But, yeah. That one sucked. All of that time, Blue City. So Nick Sirianni going to get fired? I don't know. I would think so. My logic was this, and I said this a couple days ago. If we laid an egg in this game and we just looked god awful, then Sirianni's job was on the line. It's not that if we lost, it's how we would lose. And we looked unprepared for the blitz. We couldn't, for whatever reason, we couldn't dial it up. They got the blitz coming and we still got guys running 10 yards down the field before they look. Different things like that. I mean, Devontae Smith, he ended up with 7 catches for what? 111 yards or something like that. He had a good game. So at least, somebody showed up. Somebody showed up to play. Is it still here? Still got it up there? Nah, they took it down. Hold on. Let me download this PDF. There we go. Game book. So, Devontae Smith, you ended up. DeAndre Swift, 10 carries for 34 yards. Gainwell had 4 carries for 3. Jalen Hurts was 25 of 35 for 250. His rating was 100.9. Mayfield was 22 of 36 for 337. His rating was 119. 3 touchdowns. No picks. Receiving, Devontae Smith, 8 receptions, 12 targets, 148 yards. So he had a good game. Mike Evans, 7 for 48 yards. Otten was I believe that was the big tight end. He was 8 catches for 89 yards. They spread the ball a lot. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They had 5 receivers over 45 yards. 89, 45, 48, 66, 56. So they spread it around. We had Devontae Smith. DeAndre Swift had 4 receptions. Goddard had 4 receptions. Jones had 3 receptions. Watkins had 3. Gainwell had 2. Oz had 1. So we just went down in flames at the end. Mike, I'm kind of with you. I'm thinking Sirianni might be at the end of his rope. It all depends on what Jeffrey Lurie wants to do. Because the reason why I say that is because everybody from the outside looking in thinking that Sirianni is probably going to get fired. However, if you're going to fire somebody, you got to bring in the right somebody. It's not just we got to get another coach in here. That's a knee-jerk reaction. Yes, we have to get another coach. Who? And when you bring in somebody new, that doesn't necessarily mean everything is going to be just great. Look at what just happened in Denver. All that hollering and hooping that Sean Payton didn't amount to a hill of beans. And he'll be in the same situation last year that he is this year, minus a quarterback. That's what makes it even worse for him. Russ ain't staying out there. Who you going to get? Because it's easy to talk about it. It is a whole different thing to be about it. To get somebody in that you know is going to take you to the next level. Look at what happened last year in Carolina with Ryan Tannehill. And he started talking all that smack about who he wasn't going to tutor or help out, talking all of that smack. And he ain't that good anyways. So you never know what's going to happen. It's very easy to, look at the situation in Dallas or look at the situation here. Like, yeah, we need to get rid of the whole staff and everybody need to go. Who you going to replace them with? Because if you don't bring the right people in, and that group of the group of new coaches that you bring in, if they don't gel together, you're gonna find yourself in a worse situation. It is not that easy. We do a lot of talking now, and social media amplifies the nonsense. So once you sift through all of the bullshit, you understand that it is not easy to just replace a coach. I don't care who it is. Belichick might not be able to come in and just light the world on fire again. His time is up. So, yes, you want something better, but you got to have answers to what you want. We talked about the other day, is Carolina having buyer's remorse because they chose Bryce Young instead of C.J. Stroud? Probably yes. But the reality of the situation is, if C.J. Stroud was in Carolina, he would have got his ass kicked too with that offensive line. So to me, it wouldn't have mattered. He may have fared a little bit better than Bryce Young, or maybe he wouldn't have, because what are the coaches doing with Bryce Young in Carolina? What would C.J. Stroud look like with Bryce Young's coaches, and vice versa? What would Bryce Young look like with C.J. Stroud's coaching down in Houston? You never know in that situation. You never know. Turbo, you told everybody the Buccaneers was going to beat the Eagles. A lot of people picked the Bucs over the Eagles because the Eagles got the worst defense in the league, bro. you were, so we're not gonna call you Nostradamus. It was a lot of Philadelphia people that were picking the Eagles to lose. So, yeah, that was not a uncommon pick today. A lot of people up this way in the Philadelphia area picked Tampa Bay to win this game. Um, yeah, Mike, it's never been a better year to find a coach. You just got to find the right coach. So the only person I would think of, everybody says Belichick, but Belichick, I don't like. Here's my thing. You got to give Howie his props for what he has done as a GM. If Belichick comes in here, he's going to want some of that power. So now you got a power struggle in the front office. That's a problem. Because if you can't be on the same page when it comes to drafting and things of that nature, you're going to end up like Jerry Jones down in Dallas. Because he was known to cause problems because he wanted things his way and he thought he knew more about drafting and stuff like, and it never worked. Never worked. So you got to be real careful. A very good, easy example is look what happened when Chip Kelly was here. And he wanted to control, and they kicked Howie Roseman to the curb, put him in the little office down the hall, and he had to bide his time until Chip Kelly got out of here. Once everybody got sick of drinking them protein shakes and all of that other kind of crap Chip Kelly was doing, and it's like, listen, we got to figure out a way to play some ball first before we do all this other nonsense. Because when you in this league, it's good until it isn't. Mike, I can't disagree with that. I can't disagree with that. Here's the problem. Being a play calling head coach is not as easy as you would think. Because once again, it relies heavily on your assistants. You can say what you want about Andy Reid. His play calling has suffered that now that Eric Bieniemy is not there. Now, they still in the same place. Still, they about to play Buffalo, and I think Buffalo's going to beat them. But at least he got back to this place. But you can't tell me the offense didn't look better last year with Bieniemy calling plays. Or them two in a tandem. Whether it was Bieniemy or not, you can always argue that. But it's easy to say that Kansas City's offense didn't look as good as it did last year. Same way with us. It is very clear. Troy Aikman talked about it on the broadcast. It is quite obvious that the MVP of the Philadelphia Eagles last year was Shane Steichen. And you never miss your water till your well run dry. I guess they thought Jalen was going to come in and Brian Johnson was going to run the same type of stuff. And he was just going to have that same type of verbiage and just continue that momentum that Shane Steichen started. And I was like, no, because Brian Johnson's got his own spin on it. And the very things that I hated last year about Shane Steichen's offense, I hate this year about Brian Johnson. We still running them stupid bubble screens. We don't run regular screens enough. We don't run the ball outside with the running backs. And we run too much out of gun formation. We don't do any play action out of pistol or under center. Not to mention the whole motion thing. We don't use motion. Can you imagine what Devontae Smith could have done tonight if we put him in motion? So when you're in man-to-man coverage and he's running and he can get a running start to get on that outside and take somebody deep. Imagine if we use motion to confuse the defense just a little bit, to make the linebackers move just a little bit. That is a coaching issue. That is what makes me think Sirianni might be up out of here. Because his chess game was garbage. Todd Bowles took it to us the first game with the blitz. And this game with the blitz. He blitzed. I want to see what the stats was. He had to blitz over 50% of the time tonight. Had to be somewhere around there. Cam Jurgens looked like crap tonight, James. I don't know what the hell was wrong with Jurgens. Because I'm a fan of Jurgens. Because if and when Jason Kelsey does walk away, it is my opinion that Cam Jurgens can step in and be ready to go. Cam Jurgens is plug and play. But you are absolutely right. He looked god awful tonight. He looked terrible tonight. Heather, you 100%. They never made adjustments. I don't get it. I don't get it. You can't. I'll say it again. You can't come into this game knowing what Todd Bowles does, and we still, the whole hot route thing is a problem. To me, that means you're not on top of your game. You're not on top of your chess game. Because if you have an offense that's running, it is very easy to change some plays and say, okay, these guys, this is what they like to do. So when we run this play, if you see this, we're going to go blitz, and this is what 1, 2, 3, and 4, this is what the receivers are going to do. So that's not hard to do. That's not complicated to do. I don't know if they're just satisfied or if they're just going by, well, it looks good on paper. That's what it looks like to me. Everything they draw up looks good on paper, but if the defense doesn't do exactly what you drew up, you got a problem. Specifically talking about pass protections, blitz pickup. To me, that's what's happening. That's where we are losing the chess match, because what they draw up isn't necessarily what they're doing, and then your offensive line got to think on their feet. That's why you ever notice when they go to the line of scrimmage and Jason Kelsey gets down and kind of looks up and he's pointing this way before he gets back down and snaps the ball. He's pointing out where the defense is. Everything is revolving around where he points out the Mike linebacker is. Once you got the Mike linebacker, you're going to slide to the left or you're going to slide to the right. Running back is going, if the protection is sliding to the right and it's max protection, the running back's going to either do two things. He's going to go between that A gap. Anybody that comes through, you got him. Or you're going to slide out with the line and you take the end man on the line of scrimmage. Because maybe the tight end is going out on the hot route or something like that. But the protection is the key. And we can't even get that right. That's why when you see defense, when they send everybody to the line of scrimmage and all these, you get 2 or 3 people that drop back. The reason why they do that is because once everybody crowds the line of scrimmage, the offensive line has got to pick everybody up. They got to point out their assignments. That's what happens when everybody's pointing. All the offensive linemen start pointing. They got to point out their assignments so everybody knows what everybody's doing. That way, you don't miss somebody. But what happens is when the defense has got everybody on the line of scrimmage and the linebackers drop, now the offensive linemen, their count is off. And what they're trying to do is confuse them so they can get a gap. So the defense can find a gap and get in there and put pressure on the quarterback. It's a strategy. That's exactly what I mean when I say it's a chess match. And our chess game is garbage. It's garbage. We got outcoached in the Super Bowl. In every close game we had, we got outcoached in Dallas. At home, we should have won. But we did win at home. We got outcoached against Buffalo, but we still won. But when you flipped it around in the second time, they were ready for us. And we had no answers. No answers. Yeah, James, it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. I agree. Yeah, I didn't understand that, man. I wrote this play down. I talked about it at halftime. Let me see. Bradbury was getting burned again tonight. Missed tackles. Let me see. Brotherly shove. Bradbury burned again. Go for it. What was it? I know I saw it. Yeah. It was the first series. It was 3rd and 2. And we threw it deep. Why? I didn't understand that. That is a play call. That came from the sideline. Here's how you know if the play call comes from the sideline or if Jalen is audible. Watch what he does at the line of scrimmage. If he goes to the line of scrimmage and he gives like a kill call or some type of call where he's looking at the receivers and he's giving hand signals, that means he's changing the play. And most times he's not changing the play. That means he's going with what is called on the sideline or whatever they tell him in his helmet. So when you have a situation like that, if he doesn't audible, you get what you get. That late throw to Gainwell, I believe it was in the fourth quarter. We ran the screen. This is when the game was still in hand. This is when we still had a shot. Goddard and Gainwell were to the left. And as soon as he gets the ball, he throws a screen to the left to Gainwell. I think Gainwell maybe have got a yard on it. If not, it would have been for a loss. I can't remember. But Dallas Goedert was open. He was open. But as soon as you got to look at it like this, it's not like Jalen missed the play. That was the play. Anytime he gets the ball and immediately goes left or right to a screen guy, that's what the play call is. It's not about reading the defense. That's what the play call is. There are no other options. It's a screen play. And teams are able to sniff that out easily now. Very easily. And again, Heather, to your point, we never made the right adjustments, man. Never made the right adjustments. So, yeah, the safety should never happen. That was on Jalen. You got to get rid of the ball earlier than that. You already outside the pocket. Just throw the damn ball away. Ain't much you can do about that. So, yes, that is on Jalen Hurts. So, I don't know what we're going to do. We still don't want to run the ball. We still don't want to use play action. We still try to run the ball too much out of gun formation. And I keep saying this again. I am a running back. And I am telling you from personal experience, running backs do not like to run east and west. We like to run north and south. So every time we line up in a gun formation and we want to hand the ball off, so the running back's got to step to the side before he has to go forward. Every time you step to the side, that is giving the defense one step towards you. That's a free step that you've given them. That's why play action is so dangerous, because it forces the linebackers to recognize what's going on and make a decision. When you have good play action, it makes the linebackers go sideways, not forward. They got to go left or right to follow you because they think you're getting the ball. If they come up, you leave the middle of the field unprotected. If they drop back, you got underneath. That way you can do. That's when a draw play comes into play, or a middle screen to the running back, something like that. But the situation has got to be right. Your analytics have got to be right, and you got to get a feel for the game. You gotta take the temperature of the room. So we have some major issues with our coaching staff that I think is going to be addressed. I don't know what Jeffrey Lurie is going to do. It's going to be, I can understand if he keeps him, and I can understand if he lets him go. I can see both cases of it. So I hope they bring Swift back, because they need to let Rashad Penny go. Here's what I don't like about Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny's coming off an injury, so he probably worked his ass off to get himself back to be a viable player. And the one thing that hurts me the most about Rashad Penny is that we wasted a year of his career. Because the older you get, you might not have too many good years left. So the fact that they wasted a year, whoever he plays for next year, he should have fresh legs because we damn sure didn't use him. He did some kickoff returns, and he had a couple carries the last few weeks. I bet you he doesn't have 25 carries on the year. So why did we get him in the first place? It was a waste. It was a waste. So now he's sitting on the sideline, and he just totally wasted a year of his career. It's a shame. It's a shame. So, oh, Bradbury's gone, James. Bradbury's gone. Or they're gonna make him renegotiate his contract. So I believe Bradbury's gone. I think Howie will work a deal to buy out the last year of his contract, and he's gone. We did we miss on that? No. That comes back from what happened to C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Because C.J. Gardner-Johnson overshot his market, Bradbury was ready to be up out of here, and Slay was ready to be up out of here. But because C.J. Gardner-Johnson didn't take whatever the deal was that Howie Roseman offered him, he overshot the market. So he took his talent to Detroit and could have made more money here. That's why it was so weird. But when that happens is when you go to somewhere else and you take less money, that means the offer was not on the table anymore for whatever reason. Or basically, just like I said, he overshot the market. He took his gamble, and he just lost. I don't blame him for it because he was one of the best safeties in the league. So I don't blame him for asking for whatever it is he asked for because he balled like it. And don't forget, he probably dropped like 4 or 5 picks last year. He probably should have had like 11, 12 picks at the end of the year last year. But he took his shot. I don't fault him for that, but he lost. He gambled and he lost. Slay was packing because he thought he was out of town. He thought he was gone. Slay was packing. Bradbury was, I believe, the same way. But no, because I think Bradbury knew he was under contract, but still, you know how the things go. We didn't expect to keep both of them. So we got lucky. C.J. Gardner-Johnson just went, I don't know what he asked for. But I can imagine it was quite a lot. And that's actually when all of the conversation started happening about the value of certain players. Ultimately getting into why our running backs devalued and the whole situation with Saquon and everything with that. That's where that stems from. Everybody wants their value. Everybody wants to get that bag. And a lot of times in the NFL, you may only get one shot to get that bag. So if that's why you remember when was it Cam Chancellor? The guy from the Seahawks that was trying to get a new contract, didn't get a contract, but played anyway because he was that type of dude and he didn't want to leave Seattle high and dry, and the media and the fans loved him. But what does he do? He gets on the field, tears his knee. They got to take him off in the cart. And what does he do? He flicks he flicks Pete Carroll the bird as he's going off the field because he was pissed. He tried to do the right thing, play without a contract, and it bit him in the butt. So, Mike, I agree with you 100%. We gotta get the mindset different about tackling, and the only way you can do that is if you have the right vets in camp practicing. You can practice without pads and still take somebody to the ground. It's still quasi go full speed, at least fast enough to where you can get your technique right. And there's drills you can do where you don't have to get on the ground, get dirty, and all of that kind of stuff. But clearly, the Philadelphia Eagles don't do that. Clearly, they don't do that. And they cost us. So you got to figure out what we're going to do. Where is Shaq Leonard now? I have no idea. Did he even make the trip? That's a good question. I didn't even think I heard his name. And I didn't hear anything about him in the news. Did he just not play? I don't know. But we took a gamble on Shaq Leonard, but the whole situation with the defense was because we had so many injuries. I mean, ain't nothing you can do about that. I'm waiting for Nakobe Dean to come back because I think Nakobe Dean's going to be a good player, but he got to stay on the field. Nicholas Moreau, now you understand why Nicholas Moreau was cut so many times. Nicholas Moreau was garbage. He was terrible. Now, I will say this. In the beginning, when him and Zach Cunningham, they were vibing. And they were playing some pretty damn good ball. And then Cunningham went down, and it was just all downhill. Ever since that San Francisco game, hasn't been the same. Hasn't been the same. So you already know the rest of this week, the talk is going to be about should he stay or should he go? Sirianni, should he stay or should he go? I'm curious to see what some of these exit interviews are going to be like. These final interviews when they clean out their locker and all of that kind of stuff. Because guess what? All that clowning we did with the Cowboys, and we sitting right next to them on the couch. We got beat by damn Tampa Bay. A not good Tampa Bay team, but we couldn't figure out Todd Bowles' blitz. It's a daggone shame. So, but yeah, James, I don't know where Shaq Leonard was. I out of sight, out of mind. Did he even play? Let me see. Did he even play? Roll. Bradbury Carter. Ready? No, he didn't dress. He didn't dress. And I didn't hear anything about it. Was he on the injury report? I didn't see him if he was. Eagles injury report. Let me see. Reed Blankenship, A.J. Brown, Sidney Brown, Britton Covey, Jalen Hurts, Darius Slay, Devontae Smith, and DeAndre Swift. So he wasn't on the injury report. So maybe he traveled and just didn't play. I don't know. But you're right. Out of sight, out of mind. I didn't think about him until you brought him up. D-line looked a little bit better. Yes, I agree. Yeah, fraud. I can't argue with that. Can't argue with that. I am not fraud. Let me tell you something, man. I'm a former player. So, and I played for the Eagles. I had friends that played for San Francisco. I got friends that played for almost every team you could think of in the league. So my perspective is different. I am not. I bleed green for the Eagles, and I represent my Cincinnati Bengals because that's where I'm from. But I am not what you would call a homer. I try to keep it real. I try to keep it 100. And if a team sucks, I'm going to say a team sucks. And if my team is the team that's sucking, guess what? I'm going to keep it 100. And tell you it is what it is. But we looked god awful today. I keep forgetting about my graphics, y'all. I got new graphics. Clab Kabash, what's going on, man? Hit me up, Pro Fan Talk. My name is Marcus. Marcus Thomas, played for the Eagles 93 and 94. I had what they like to call a cup of coffee. Sign I made, just a brief history. I was not drafted. I played for Eastern Kentucky, 1AA at the time. I was the 1AA all-time leading rusher. I averaged like 6.7 yards a carry in college. Dude, that was the truth. I could tote the rock. Signed with the Eagles as a free agent in 93. Was on the team in 93 on the active roster. 94 came back, and then I got cut because they drafted Charlie Garner. And then I went and played in NFL Europe, played in Canada, played NFL Europe for the Scottish Claymores, 95, 96, 97. We won the World Bowl in 96. And then I played up in Canada with the Hamilton Ticats before I shut it down. I don't know, I know Charlie, but I don't know him like that. Because remember, when they drafted Charlie, if you remember in 94, when Charlie came in, Charlie had a hell of a camp. A hell of a camp. And just, I did what I could do when I had my opportunities. But final cut day, I got that call. Come on down to the stadium and bring your playbook. And that was it. So, Quez Watkins had, I think he caught 2 balls. 3 balls for 12 yards. Yeah. Charlie Gardner was the truth, man. Charlie Gardner had explosive speed. Charlie Garner, it's not Gardner, it's Garner. Charlie Garner. He was like DeAndre Swift, but bigger. I will say probably not as strong, because you know what his background is with his dad and how he lifts and all that kind of stuff. But Charlie Garner was a little bit of a bigger back, but Charlie Garner was fast, man. He was fast. From Tennessee. So, yeah, man. So we, it is what it is right now. Yeah. I mean, Devontae Smith is what it is. He's not. Devontae Smith is one of those guys where he is always going to lose the battle for physics, because he's just a small dude. When you 175 in NFL, and these guys are, they putting up 200 pounds on one dumbbell, they're going to sling you around. So you got to pick your battles, and that's why he's a smart player. And for him to be able to go up and get some of the balls that he gets at his size and not like fumble the ball often, he's a hell of a player. So with the combination of him and A.J. Brown, and speaking of A.J. Brown, like now you know, at least in my opinion, now you know why A.J. Brown was so mad the last 3 weeks. Now you know. When you sit at home watching the games and you screaming at the television, why are we calling this? You running another bubble screen? Why would you throw deep on 3rd and 2? Why would you do? Now you understand. He is never going to be in the locker room and just start bashing the coaches. He's not that type of dude. Most people are not going to do that, because that's the fastest way to get promoted to fan. You start, going off on your coach and you really ain't doing too much. So he played it close to the vest. He did what he was supposed to do. Didn't make too many waves. We made the media made the waves. Media always makes waves if somebody's not talking, because that means they got to make stuff up. They got to make stuff up. He was protecting his players, his teammates, and his coaches. That's what he's supposed to do. And everybody in Philadelphia got butthurt because he shut down his social media and he wasn't trying to throw nobody under the bus. That's what he's supposed to do as a captain. So I heard the Marcus Hayes stories, and it don't go down like that. Anytime you hear one of these media heads, Jay Glazer, Marcus Hayes, anybody, and they quote sources, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, everybody's got sources, but don't assume that they tell you everything, because players are not going to tell somebody in the media everything. What happens is somebody might give a piece of information, and then you got to make up the rest and hope that it's right. Or when they give the report, they put a disclaimer about it being their opinion or they don't know for a fact, or this is just what I'm thinking. So you got to take that stuff with a grain of salt. But everybody is so information starved for the next story, and they want to know what's going on. They'll take any amount of information and deem it as gospel, and you can't do that. Fraud. That's a good point. That's a damn valid point. We had a good season. No Super Bowl hangover because we made it to the playoffs, and we'll be back. We'll be back depending on who our coach is. Because here's the one thing that people forget. I brought this up before. Jalen Hurts might have to learn another offense, and I don't want that for him. But he can do it, and I hope that we get somebody with a lot more experience than Brian Johnson. So we'll see. Clearly, Nick Sirianni needs to be the head coach. He doesn't need to be the head coach and the play caller. That's not his bag. He's not good at it, in my opinion. And that's okay. That's okay. In this league, you need to know what you don't know. If you think you're the smartest person in the room, find a new room. Because we done got blasted on with it. We done got blasted in the chess match too many times. Way too many times. So we got to be able to do better. MG, the Eagles are coming back. It all depends on what happens. It all depends on what happens. Hurts is elite. I'm not going to disagree with that. Hurts was really good last year. To be elite, in my opinion, elite means you've been doing it at a high level for a long time. You got to give me at least 4 years. You got to give me at least 3 to 4 years to be considered elite. That third year, you better be playing at a super high level. And that fourth year, again, the consistency has got to be there to be considered elite. I wouldn't even consider Josh Allen an elite player yet because the beginning of his year sucked. He had to bring it back. He's playing at a very good level now, but I'm not putting elite on him. That's what they were trying to do to Dak Prescott all year. Dak Prescott was playing at a really high level, but there is a vast difference when you are really good and you are elite. Tom Brady was elite. Aaron Rodgers was really good. He played like at an elite level that 1 year, but look at how many times has Aaron Rodgers been back to the Super Bowl to be that good. So he played at an elite level for 1 or 2 years, but he couldn't keep that consistency going. Tom Brady did. Every time he was on the team, he was going to the playoffs or to the Super Bowl, it seemed like. Dak was never elite. Correct. That's my point. But if you drink the Kool-Aid down in Dallas, you be ready to fight. If somebody go back to that whole nonsense about what Cam Newton said between game managers and all of that kind of stuff, which was a bunch of nonsense because my thing is like, why is there such a negative connotation to game managers? That never made sense to me. Game managers are the ones that recognize what they got to do, don't try to overextend themselves, and just get the ball to your playmakers. We look at it like if you're a game manager, you're a bad thing. And the reason why it's like that is because they, as far as I can remember, they started to use the term game manager for backups. You just got to manage the game and not lose it. So that was a term they developed for backups. However, if you are a starting quarterback and you managing the game and you getting the ball to your playmakers and you are winning games, that's all you need to do. Because guess what? It's a whole lot of quarterbacks that I played with, watched, and I watch now that are throwing for 300 and 400 yards a week, but ain't winning. Or they're not going to the playoffs. So the stuff that you want from them, they not providing. But they putting up them stats, though. So game manager should not be a negative title, but it is. Because guess what? Uh, Patrick Mahomes, is he elite? You can say elite because he's got two Super Bowl rings. But when you talk about consistency, and we look at what's going on this year, what you gonna say? Fry Eagles fry. I see you, Alpha. So, being elite, being a game manager, you throw all of that stuff out the window. Because at the end of the day, it don't mean nothing. That's something where people can write articles. Everybody will get the clickbait, all of that kind of stuff, so somebody can make their list. But at the end of the day, as a player, I don't give a damn about lists. Only thing I want to know is when we show up on Sunday, are you getting it done? When I go back to the stadium on Monday morning to watch film, what am I going to see? Am I going to see the good stuff or am I going to see the bullshit? That's the only thing that matters. Mahomes was the reason he has 2 rings. Alex Smith wasn't taking the team. You're right. You're 100% right. But I'm saying that to say when you talk about people being elite, so I'll throw Patrick Mahomes up there because he's been to the Super Bowl, won 2 of them. Now now they're back in the playoffs again, won their first game, and now they got to go up against Buffalo. I don't think Buffalo's going to beat them, but they got to play the game. And for some reason, it ain't that easy to beat Patrick Mahomes. I don't listen. They can listen. Jaquay, you can talk crazy about Purdy. I love Purdy. Purdy's in the same situation this year that Jalen was in last year. If y'all remember, Jalen Hurts caught all of that flack because they were talking the same conversation. Is Jalen Hurts elite? Is he this? Is he that? Of course, everybody in Philadelphia going to say, yeah, Jalen Hurts is elite because he's leading our team. But they don't paint that picture on the outside looking in. It's the same thing with Purdy. The only thing Purdy is doing is giving the ball to CMC, Brandon Ayuk, and Debo. And that's what he's supposed to do. Give the ball to your playmakers and let them make plays. That's it. So if y'all want to call him a game manager and put some spin on him, go ahead. And he's spinning it right through the playoffs. My prediction is going to be Baltimore and San Francisco in the Super Bowl. So you can say what you want to say. The boy is getting the ball to the right people and making the right decisions. That's all you want. Just because he can't throw the ball 80 yards on a dime, the long ball is overrated. The long ball is way overrated. Because you know what a long pass is 30 to 40 yards max. Or it's a 10-yard play that somebody breaks a couple of tackles and turns it into something. Look at what that kid just did tonight for Tampa Bay. Broke the tackle on James Bradbury and turned a 6-yard run into like a 40-yard touchdown. That goes in the books as a 40-yard touchdown or 45 yards or whatever it was. That gets credited to Baker Mayfield as a long pass. That was like a 6-yard out. James Bradbury just couldn't tackle. So when you take stuff like that into consideration, all Brock Purdy's doing is getting the ball to his playmakers. Debo, you be the hero. Here you go. Kittles, you be the hero. Here you go. CMC, here you go. That's all he got to do. He putting up good numbers. So that's a media created thing because everybody wants their guy to be, everybody wants a quarterback that looks like Josh Allen. 6'5", 6'6", cannon arm, can run, all of that stuff. But you got to put more to it than that. Look at Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is essentially the same size as Josh Allen. How come he doesn't have the same success? Daniel Jones got a good arm. Daniel Jones can run. But he just can't put it together. It is very difficult to just add water and get you a Pro Bowl quarterback. It's very difficult. And I tell this to people all the time. If y'all remember, do your homework, go back and look at Josh Allen's first 2 years in Buffalo. And go on Google or something and look at the media response and the crowd and the fans' response to Josh Allen. They wanted him the hell up out of there. Josh Allen couldn't hit a mirror in the bathroom. He had a terrible first 2 years. But you got to take your lumps. You got to take your lumps. And look where he is now. Because if the Bills Mafia would have had their way, they probably would have cut him and got rid of him. Because he wasn't ready yet back then. But everybody wants him to hurry up. Everybody wants these guys to hurry up, and you can't. You just can't do that. And I tell people all the time, because to me, this is the easiest example I can think of. Troy Aikman, when he came into the league, I believe his rookie year, he threw like 17 interceptions. Dallas won, I believe, one game that year. He was terrible. In today's standards, they'd have been looking to draft another quarterback. But they knew he was going to have to take some time. Look at how long it took for Steve Young to get his shot and what he did with it. That's just the way it goes. You can't just add water and have an instant quarterback. MG, thank you for mentioning that. Jordan Love is the perfect example. How long did Jordan Love sit behind Aaron Rodgers? 3 years? Then he struggled last year, took his lumps. Now he's in the second round of the playoffs. He went to Dallas and beat Dallas. He took his lumps and he's finally arrived. Just imagine what they're going to do if they give Justin Fields enough time. But they're not going to give him enough time. You know why? Because everybody's looking at C.J. Stroud and thinking that is the norm, not the exception. C.J. Stroud is a unicorn, man. Because if it was that easy, everybody would do it. That's to circle back around. That's why I got such a problem with Caleb Williams doing some of the shit that he's doing right now. Like, dude, you ain't earned nothing. Not in the NFL. You haven't earned anything, and you trying to call your shots? So, how many times do people like Caleb Williams Michael Penix, who else? Who else is the top? I think his name is McCrary. All these guys that's going to be coming out this year, this quarterback class. Out of all these people coming out, how many of them are going to be good? Because now C.J. Stroud has become the standard. He's the measuring stick. Not too many people going to live up to that height. They just don't. Could be. Clab, that's a good point. And there's a lot of truth to that because number one, Jordan Love took his lumps. He's been there three? This is his fifth year? Fourth year? Let's see. We got this nice big computer with Google on it and ESPN. Let's see, Jordan Love. Let's see. Schedule scores. Yeah, that's just this year's stuff. Let me see. Jordan Love. Let's see if I can find his career stuff. Jordan Love career. Jordan Love career stats. Okay. 21, 22, 23. So he came out the same year as Jalen. So this is his third year. One, two, three. Yeah, this is his third year. So he sat behind. So he's in his third year, and he took them 2 years to develop behind Aaron Rodgers. So Heather, I agree with you 100%. Caleb he gonna learn today. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but you're absolutely right. He don't want to go to Chicago, but I still got a problem with college kids telling folks what they not gonna do. That's why I have such a problem with Eli Manning. That's why I never respected Eli. The only reason you could do that is because the strength of your dad and what your brother was doing, and the NFL acquiesced to that. So I never had respect for Eli because of that. Because he didn't want to go to San Diego. Um, yeah, Heather. Defenses will, yeah, they'll tee off a little bit because that'll be bulletin board material. Um, yeah, Carson Palmer played for my hometown Bengals. He panned out, but even Carson Palmer didn't go to the Super Bowl. Now Joe Cool might have an opportunity if he can stay healthy. Uh, Rocket Ismail, yeah, I know there's a lot of people that did it, but I got a problem with kids trying when they call their shots like that. They got to earn their stripes in my book. So, but we'll see what's gonna happen. They got to go through the combines, and you'll see. Um, you know, they're gonna have some marginal workouts, and everybody will go gaga over it. They'll throw one good pass in the combine drills, but at the end of the day, people like Caleb Williams, he don't need to go to the combine. He'll have his own personal workout at the school, all that kind of stuff, and he'll have 8 million scouts there, and it'll be a couple of other his players and a couple of other players from other schools that can do some things. So that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. Yeah, but you got to give Peyton his due because Peyton was nasty. Peyton was so smart though, and Peyton got what? He got 2 Super Bowls. Should have had 3. Should have had 3. If he didn't throw that pick six, uh, in that game against Pittsburgh. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I've been just over an hour. Um, Peyton was on another level, man. Peyton's football IQ was through the roof. He was a football genius, and he could do things. So when I watch commentary and stuff like that, uh, I watch Peyton tell a story about Ed Reed, and the way Peyton described it let me know how smart Ed Reed was. You know what I mean? His football IQ was through the roof. When people talk like that and they kind of, you can tell when they on the same level, that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see. Will the Eagles finally utilize Agent Zero? No, they didn't. Eagles, we had no answer for the blitz tonight. Fraud, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure all of you guys subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends about me. I'm trying to reach 2,000 very quickly. I want to reach 2,000 subscribers before the Super Bowl is over with. So spread the word. Send it to your mom, your dad, your sister, your cousin. Tell them to subscribe and watch a video. Go on YouTube, start the video, and go get something to eat. You ain't got to stay there and watch the whole thing. Heather, I appreciate you. I love it when we had the ladies in the chats because ladies know what they talking about too. They study the game. Keep it real. I got 2 sisters. I know how this works. So thank you, Heather. Please watch me and tell your friends about me because I love to have ladies in the chat. Absolutely. So I'm going to get up out of here. I appreciate you guys. And check out the news coming up because there's going to be a lot of reports because there's going to be a lot of people talking about what's going to happen. There's probably going to be some breaking news with some coaches' decisions probably the end of this week and going into next week. So it'll be exciting. till we get to the bowl. All right. Y'all have a good night. I appreciate you. Talk to you later. Go Birds.